portion of McLean County, runs all the way to the west to the Mississippi River, includes Quincy, portions of Peoria, goes all the way down to Springfield, to a very, very large district that we're running in. 708,000 is the population. 19 counties are included, and it's a large district to be running in. I'm a history professor at Eureka College. I've been there for 24 years, and I've been interested in running for this particular office for a number of years now. I was able to obtain the vacancy appointment by the Democratic chairs about a month ago, and we submitted our petitions at the end of May. We had to submit 626 petitions, and we submitted 1,109. So we are officially on the ballot for November. And I want to thank many of you. I know that many of you did sign petitions on my behalf, and I'm certainly appreciative of that. And Daryl especially, I want to thank you for your efforts in helping to make that happen. I want to talk a little bit tonight about this campaign and why it's important. And in doing so, I want to put this into context, really the larger context that goes beyond the 18th Congressional District in Illinois. I want to put this in context of what it means for the state and what it means for the nation. I'm running against Congressman Darren LaHood, who has been in office now for just a little over 8 months. He's the current incumbent. Many of you will recall that before he became congressman, Senator LaHood served down in Springfield, where he was a loyal lieutenant in the Raunerism agenda. We also know that Darren LaHood has also recently stated that he is going to support the Republican nominee. We know what that means. He's also going to be a loyal supporter of Donald Trump. So just stop and consider for a moment what exactly that means. Let's put this in context. What it means in the 18th Illinois. That we could re-elect an incumbent. We could use the conveyor belt of incumbency to return Darren LaHood to Washington. But think about what that really means in the larger context. We've seen what Raunerism looks like. We've seen what the cronyism of billionaire capitalism looks like. Illinois gives us a very good example of that. We don't really want to see that on the national level. We know that Raunerism and Trumpism, the things that LaHood is representing, are the kinds of things that don't necessarily serve the needs of ordinary working people in Central Illinois. Now, I could argue tonight that we need to support my candidacy by speaking about things we should be voting against. In other words, I could make the argument that we need to elect someone different. We need to elect a Democratic candidate to this position because it represents something different. But if we're only voting against something, then we're missing the larger picture. The larger picture is we have an opportunity in this race to stand for something. We have an opportunity in this race to stand for the idea that if you present policy proposals, if you present particular ideas, if you present things that can change the lives of ordinary citizens, those people who have felt forgotten for so long, if you do those kinds of things, I believe that ideas can trump power. You see, we know that the other side has name recognition. That they have. We know that the other side is going to have a war chest. It's going to be rather substantial. But you can have those kinds of things, and if the other side simply has a poverty of ideas, if the other side simply is repeating the stale rhetoric that Republicans have used all the way back to the late 80s into the 90s, then what exactly do we have to offer? So one of the things that we are hoping is that every opportunity that we get in this election, we want an opportunity to debate Congressman LaHood, to debate him on the specifics of policy proposals. We're going to be putting forward a new policy proposal. We're releasing these to the media and on our social media, one per week, every week between now and November. It's going to be 20 policy proposals that will be coming forward. The very first of those came out earlier this week. It dealt with the issue of term limits, and I stated unequivocally that if I am elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, my desire is to serve no more than 3 terms. 3 terms an hour. That is my intent. I don't want to be a career politician. I have no idea to serve in a position beyond this. My idea is exactly what the founders intended, and that is ordinary citizens who step forward in times of need, present their ideas to the best that they can, and move on. So that was my first position that I did state earlier this week. Standing for some standing on principle, standing on ideas. Those are the kinds of things that can make this a different campaign. Those are the kinds of things that can make you want to support a candidate. What we have seen in this district is we have many communities in this district where people feel as though their counties, their towns have been forgotten along the way. We were in Scott County just a little over a week ago. We were in the county seat of Winchester. Winchester almost lost their post office last week. They came within about a day of losing the post office in town. Winchester's only grocery store is closing down. This is the county seat. And the people realize that when students graduate from high school in communities like Winchester, their desire is to leave that town, to leave that county, because they don't see an opportunity there. We have sacrificed equally during the economic downturn that we experienced, but as the recovery has come along, the recovery has been tremendously uneven. And the recovery has forgotten many places. The recovery has passed many places by. One of the things that we need to do is work with communities like the Winchesters of Central Illinois. Communities that are working together at the grassroots level to try to find ways that through civic engagement, through community activists working together, community development projects, that we can find ways to create jobs, to bring jobs into these communities. One of the things that we're going to be releasing in a couple of weeks is a policy proposal that we call Uplift in Place. And the idea behind this is ways that we can bring education and training to individuals where they are, so that they can find new jobs in the 21st century in the places where they are. See, what we want to do is present ideas, things that can be done, things that are possible, things that some might call visionary leadership. We want to bring those ideas forward because we don't believe that you can govern through 30-second sound bites. We believe that the power of incumbency may be a certain power, but the ideas that we want to bring forward are ideas that can be much more powerful in the long run. And here's what I need. I need your help. I need an army of volunteers that are willing to knock on doors, that are willing to say that we have an opportunity this time, maybe an opportunity that we haven't had in decades, where we can change business as usual in this district and hopefully change business as usual in Washington. The political climate of 2016 is unlike anything that we've ever seen before. Anybody that says that they can predict the political future is lying to you. We know that because conventional wisdom has proven itself to be wrong every turn this time around. And so if someone automatically assumes that if you are the incumbent, if someone automatically assumes that you represent entrenched power, if someone automatically assumes that because you've been in office for 8 months that you have a guarantee of a locked-in spot, I think they might be mistaken this time around. We have a chance, but that chance means that we need to support the campaign. We need to make sure that we can get the message out there, that we can present a valid argument to the community, to the many communities that we're representing. And so what I'd love for you to do, many of you in here tonight have friends and family that are far beyond the Bloomington community. You have friends and family that might be out in Adams County, out in the Quincy area. If you've got friends in Quincy, you let your friends in Quincy know that change can come to the 18th Illinois. It's possible. This time it can be different. If you have friends that live in places like Scott County, in Winchester, you let them know that we hear their concerns. You let them know that we're listening. You let them know that we're willing to work with them to try to find solutions at the grassroots level so that they can solve problems, that they can reinvigorate their communities. If you have friends who are farmers in the Lincoln area, Logan County, or in Mason City area, Mason County, if you have friends who are farmers who sort of live on the margin to the extent that every year they find themselves challenged by what are worldwide commodity prices going to do, what's the biofuels industry going to do, where they have to make what might almost seem like life and death decisions, betting on the future. Let them know that we hear their concerns, that we want to work with them as much as we can. If you have friends across this community, across the 19 counties of the 18th Illinois, what we need to let them know is that we have an opportunity this time around where we can present a message, a unified message. And that message is common sense solutions do exist. Those common sense solutions are at the middle. They're at the center. We have to find a way through the process of bipartisanship. We have to find a way that Democrats, Independents, Republicans can work together. I had an opportunity just a few nights ago to be at the airport of Peoria when the honor flight was returning. There were about 2,000 people who were there to recognize the veterans as they were coming back. They'd been in Washington, D.C. All day, a day. Many of these were veterans from the Second World War, all the way through contemporary conflicts. And the 2,000 people who were gathered there, they didn't identify themselves as Democrats, Republicans, or Independents. And maybe there was some red and blue, but it was part of the larger red, white, and blue that was present. You see, individuals were there because there's a common bond that has always united the American people, and that is we have shared values. We believe in things. We believe that you uplift individuals. We believe that there's always hope, that we care for those who need our help, that we recognize that not everyone has benefited from the economic recovery that has come along. We recognize that there might well still be forgotten places, but in the 21st century, this new economy, the 21st century, we can't let anyone remain marginalized. We can do better. And just like those 2,000 people were gathered there and were recognizing the veterans as they returned, that was a microcosm of America. We can work together. We can find common ground. We can do the practical kinds of things where progress can be made. But it's got to start here in McLean. It's got to take place in Woodford. It's got to take place in the other counties of the district. We must make sure that this time we have an opportunity to do something that in many parts of this district has not happened for a century. And that is to have a Democratic candidate serving the United States House of Representatives in the Illinois 18th Congressional District. Hasn't happened for a century in some parts. This, my friends, this is our century. This is our time. If we work together, what we can see is the rise of the middle. What we can see is common sense politics coming together. We can see practical solutions that people are willing to work together to cooperate with one another. That's what I represent. I'm asking for your vote. I'm asking for your support. Each one of you tonight will get a button. Buttons along. We have a website which is located at rodriguezcongress.com. And at the website, if you're interested in signing up to volunteer, you have an opportunity to do that. If any of you are so inclined, you can make a donation to the campaign, to the website as well. We also have a social media presence. Social media is 18, the number 18, THIL, and that's on Facebook and also on Twitter. And we'll actually be putting tonight's presentation on there within a day or so. But follow us, see the message that we're putting out there, listen to the stories that we're telling, and if this is the kind of campaign that you believe can inspire you, if it's the kind of campaign that can give you a reason to vote for something instead of simply voting against something, welcome aboard. We need every one of you. And I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I look forward to the chance to chat with many of you at the conclusion of the meeting. Thanks a lot.